exciting session on leveraging technology for SMEs, growth and empowerment. My name is Ibrahim Al-Jubari. I'm a lecturer in entrepreneurship at Brunel University, London, and I'm very pleased today to be chairing and moderating this interesting session on the role of technology and how that empowers small, medium enterprises globally and in the Arab region specifically. My research interest centers around new venture creation and behaviors, entrepreneurship education, informal entrepreneurship, and digital transformation. Today we have a fantastic and amazing panel of speakers, but before I introduce them shortly, I would like to give a little bit of a background. We have heard this morning and just the first session of the day how technology is so empowering, how it supports small, medium enterprises and facilitates trade across the globe. And that benefit that technology is bringing to all of us here couldn't be realized without it. Every day we see a lot or many technologies that is emerging in every day and transforming how we live, how we communicate, how we commute, and how we do business across all aspects. So the role of technology cannot really be overstated and overemphasized because it brings huge opportunities to all businesses of all sizes across the globe and across region. And this empowerment that is technology is bringing to small and medium enterprises is too huge. In this rapidly changing environment, we see a lot of technologies like AI, machine learning, robotics, virtual realities, augmented realities, data analytics, big data, metaverse, and all these technologies that bring huge benefits for SMEs. As we all know that small and medium enterprises represent over 90% of businesses across the globe, and they contribute more than 60% of jobs creation globally and contribute more than 50% of the global GDP, which means SMEs are at the center of public policies, and there are many programs, governments and agencies, international agencies are advocating and supporting for. However, this is not only the one side of it. The other side of it is the challenge that is bringing. And we have heard this morning the challenges that entrepreneurs are facing, and that is, I think, global, across all industries and countries, right? And the issue that to overcome such challenges, or what are the strategies and what are the technologies that we would like to be using and utilizing them fully to unlock the full potential of small and medium enterprises. I'm very pleased to have here with me on the stage very prominent speakers who come from various companies and industries who will share their insights with us today to uncover and shed light on these issues. So may I start introducing our panels. First, I will start with Dr. Octavie Quantine from Prima Foundation, Spain. And then if I really be successful this time to pronounce her name, Virginie Rouillet from Anima Investment Network, Director of the Moroccan Office of Anima Advisory Services. Last but not least, we have Winslow Sergeant, a CEO of Purple Technologies, an S&T investment firm from the US. Welcome to you all, and a very warm welcome. Thank you for joining us here today. If we can begin the session by inviting our speakers to describe what they do and what activities their organization are doing to support small, medium, and enterprises, and particularly if they can shed light briefly on how that support is benefiting small and medium enterprises. And perhaps I will start with you, Octavie, please.
Good morning to you all, and thank you for being here today. I'd like to present very briefly what Prima is. Prima is a foundation that is an initiative of 19 countries around the Mediterranean, 8 non-European, 11 European. And I hope it works. It doesn't. Yeah. With a participation, so we have a budget of 500 million, which is euros, which is split between the contribution of the countries and the contribution of the European Union. And we launch calls of research and innovation. So the only thing we fund are ideas, not infrastructures, not anything else, but ideas. What we want is that national programs, so countries that hardly work together, they do better, they really are able to work together, that teams from countries that get used to work together. And one of the things, one of the challenges that we detect is whereas in the north, that is in Europe, we have some sort of integration of the countries through the EU, the European Union. There is a lack of integration in the south, and we identify this as a major problem. And what we want is that there is a much better integration among the countries of the south of the Mediterranean, and certainly to strengthen the research and innovation capacities. So far, we have funded 200 projects. There are annual calls of 70 million euros every year. And then these calls, we receive many applications. You need to realize that every project has, as a standard, roughly 7 to 10 partners. And we have, well, until 22, this year is different, but 1,900 partners. The participation of the non-EU, that is those of the South and the East, is 38%, and 20% goes to the private sector. You see that the projects mainly deal with water management, agriculture, and agro-food value chain. And then there is a nexus, which is what we want to foster, that is that more and more projects have an holistic view and integrate all the sectors. So this is why the Nexus has disappeared, because Nexus will be in all the projects from now on. Those are the cross-cutting teams, and you see here technologies that you are familiar, but what we want is that as many projects as possible understand digitalization. They introduce always a socioeconomic aspect to the projects, and certainly there is some capacity building. I conclude saying that we have, it's a program that have strong institutional support because it is supported by 19 countries plus the European Union. It is based on equal footing. This is very important. North and South traditionally have been working in a very unbalanced way, and this is what we want here, is that everyone contributes financially and everyone has the same power, decision power. All of us work as the same decision power. We think that geostrategically is important as well, as I was saying, the South-South integration. It is a very good instrument of science diplomacy. What I mean by that is that countries that have political conflicts, there are teams coming from these countries having political conflicts work together. And this is a way to, I mean, it will not solve the problems of the world, but at least there is a way that people from these countries work together, speak, and know each other. So far, we have a portfolio of projects, 200, as I said. We want to tackle, of course, global and regional challenges. Climate change is a problem that no country will be able to tackle on its own, and the proof is the very difficult arrangements that are today in the COP28, but on all the COPs. We want always a multi-actor approach, and I think that this is a very good example of how countries very different in GDP, very different in culture, very different in the way they are governed, they can work together. So I think that this is a way for the future, at least in our region, the Mediterranean. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Octavie. It's really fascinating to know what Prima is doing, supporting small and medium enterprises, and you have funded almost 200 projects already. That is of a value of over 280 million euros in various technologies. Thank you very much. Could we now please know more about the Anima Investment Network, please? And that is Virginie.
Je dois la passer.
Slide.
Oh, okay.
Presentation, please. Presentation on.
Assalamu alaikum. I can present the network by myself, but it will be better with the presentation.
Yeah, it's coming,
yeah.
I believe. No. Technical team, can we have the slides, please? On. Do you have it?
If I do it.
Can someone here from the technical team help with the slides to be on? Who is that? Unfortunately, it's not here in the main screen.
We have it here, but not on the big screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay.
It's okay,
great.
if you can proceed with that. Thank you.
So I can proceed, perfect. But how to go? Just click. Well, doesn't work. Doesn't work.
It's not working at all.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's coming.
Well,
it's off again.
Salamu alaikum. I don't have it anymore, but I'm going to present myself and also Anima Network. So my name is Virginie Ruyer. I live in Morocco since now 15 years. I work in communication, in marketing and communication since 20 years. And before integrating Anima Network, I was a communication expert in the network. Anima is an international network, very active in economic development, in economic cooperation, and we work for convergence between Europe, Middle East, and Africa. In the network, we can count more than 70 members that come from many Mediterranean countries, from Spain, Italy, Greece, yeah, that's it. France, but also Morocco, Tunisia, Jordania, Lebanon, Palestine, Syria. So it's a very international active network. We also work with 4,000 experts local experts that help us to work on program and to achieve our goals, to help SMEs growth. And our team is composed of 15 people based in France, in Marseille, and me in Morocco, because Anima has opened its first foreign office in Morocco less than 1 year, and I'm very proud to be the director of the office that opened to help and to work with investment regional centers, and also to continue to work with very active and dynamic clusters and on several programs here in Morocco. So our president is a Tunisian. He's called Tarak Sherif. He's from Connect in Tunisia. And in our governance, we have different organizations as Business France, as Gafi in Egypt, Malta Enterprise, Greece Enterprise. We have also FIPA in Tunisia, SEBC in Syria, l'AMDIE in Morocco, but we have also AMEC in Spain, AWEX, Beritech in Lebanon, Invest Cyprus, HCIE, Promos, and Région Sud France. So I'm very happy to be with you. I thank you, Esqua, and also all public to be here, and I hope this session will be passionate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Virginie. Now let's listen to Winslow and to tell us about Purple Technologies and S&T investment firm, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
My name is Winslow Sergeant. I am the CEO of Purple Team Technologies. I'm also the immediate past chair of ICSB. In my previous life, I was the 6th Chief Counsel for Advocacy in the U.S. Small Business Administration from 2010 to 2015. I'm going to touch on leveraging technology for SME growth and empowerment, but I'm going to focus on digital transformation and foreign trade. With regard to the impact of digital trade, we know that digitization, it increases the scale, scope, and speed of trade. One thing we saw that came out of COVID is that we weren't able to be in contact, and so that meant that we had to get access to the customer somehow. So things moved towards digital, right? Because via payments, via how we would sell our goods and services. And so what Purple Team Technology does is that it works within supply chains. It works with ICSB, which, by the way, just to give some background on ICSB, this is an organization that was founded in 1955, and it has representation in more than 85 countries. And so we understand the power of SMEs, but we also know that for SMEs to be effective and to scale, they must trade. And for many countries, for scale to take place, that means that you have to focus on trade as well. And so to focus on trade means, one, you have to be formal, right? So that means that you have to have a digital presence, you have to be connected, you have to also lower those barriers of growth, and also what digitization does, it helps to facilitate payments, it enables you to collaborate much more easier with customers, and helps with working with investors. With regard to the digital marketplace, we know that digitization changes how we trade goods through growth in online platforms. There are many ways that we can trade goods. When I go out to the marketplace there, I see those who are selling goods, very good quality goods, but they don't have access to markets. And so how do you make sure that those who have the product can get access to markets? That means you have to do trade. That means you have to be online, and that you have to understand what are some of the barriers for trade as well. There are some issues, though, with trade, right? Once you cross borders, then then you have to manage, things with security, these small packages, and so there are things that the government must play a role. And so what I also wanted to touch on, not just how to leverage technology, but how do we advise those who make the rules much better, much more fairer, so that SMEs can trade as well. And so in a 24-hour world, we need to have digital solutions for trade facilitation to help goods move across and much faster across borders so that they're not stuck in customs. And that's how technology can be used. We need to make sure that the rules are fair, that the SMEs are aware of the rules so that they can work much faster, be much more effective. And so I will touch on more in terms of what can be done and what were some of the best practices that have been used to help SMEs around the world help with using digital technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Winslow. That was very inspirational. And you touched upon the digital economy and digital tools and the barriers and market access, and that all also create a digital divide, actually, because the digital divide, and there's a big gap in the market due to the level of technological advancement across countries, and also lack of access to talent people and skilled people as well in terms of technology, and lack of access to finance as well. And these are global challenges as well. So let me turn back to Octavie, please, and we would like, based on your presentation, and you have mentioned about funding ideas and innovative ideas. How do you think the inclusion of small, medium enterprises in technological research is essential? And what can they do in terms of enhancing advancement, the technological progress? Please.
Thank you very much.
The mic. It's working, I guess. Yeah.
Good, thank you very much. In fact, we fund just research and innovation. So we fund ideas. We do not fund infrastructures. We do not fund, so to speak, other activities or the growth of SMEs. But we fund ideas. Now, these ideas, typically, research and innovation are co-opted, or at least the main participants are universities. But in a project, our projects, as I said, are typically with partners from the north and the south of the Mediterranean, and typically they have an average of 7-10 partners each. So, what we want is, in all the projects, in all the consortia doing the project of research and innovation, that is developing ideas, that is solutions for challenges we have in the Mediterranean, mainly in the water and agro-food sector, but it can be on all the value chain of agro-food. And we need SMEs. It is essential that there are SMEs. Otherwise, they will hardly reach the market. If there is no people with experience and culture of trying to reach the market, I mean, the project, once is finished, will be in a drawer or in a publication, in an article, in a journal, but this is it. And this is not having a real impact in society. To have an impact in society, we need SMEs who bring the outcomes of the research to the market. This is not easy, but this is in the end, what we want from all research projects, that either they finish with products and services in the market, or that all these projects go into policy improvements and that the policymakers understand it, how it works. For this, we need, again, someone knowing, as Ibrahim was saying, on communication. So communicate research results to policymakers is not easy, because scientists speak in a language that is usually not very useful for policymakers. Someone needs to translate this, and this is, again, the role of people who know how to go from the outcomes of research to policymakers. So that is, to simplify, all projects in our program, most of them have already SMEs, but we need more SMEs in our program. This is the only way that these projects and these outcomes of the project, these ideas, will arrive to the market and make an impact in the society. Thanks.
That's great. So we now know that small and medium enterprises are an integral part of what you are doing at Prima, and perhaps how to communicate such messages out of that research to policymakers to inform a better decision making. Now let's turn to Virginie, and you would like to go to the stage, yeah, please. So could you elaborate, based on your experience at NEMA, how technology could facilitate Arab SMEs' participation in the global trade and cross-border trade as well, and what kind of digital barriers that you see or you have observed or experienced?
Can I have
Sorry?
Can I have the presentation, please?
The presentation again?
Yeah.
Anima's presentation? Yeah, please.
So, according to Anima, there are three big trends that allow us to reshape and reinforce Mediterranean value chains. First of all, we have to face a sustainability imperative. I'm not going to develop this point. I know that everything is aware of that. But the consequences is that we have to rethink our international operations, and we can observe shortening and effectively shorter value chains and a new circularization. The second trend that we observe is deglobalization. We can notice that there is political pressure due to a rising protectionism that trains international production, which is more difficult. And these trends existed, of course, before COVID crisis, but are more present today. We have technology that had been very developed with COVID crisis. Digitalization and automatization is now in all companies, big as SMEs companies. And digitalization changed the economics in the industrialization, and we can notice that the free zones and the offshoring becomes free zones are stronger, offshoring becomes less beneficial. So in the Mediterranean basin, we have and SMEs have lots of, three main advantages. The first advantage to continue to grow is the trade agreements, because all countries around the Mediterranean have association of trade agreements with the European Union. We also can observe high capacity of production. Mediterranean countries, productivity is higher than in China and 2 to 7 times higher compared to Southeast Asia and Bangladesh. And the third advantage that we have in the Mediterranean basin is a competitive human resources. So, what can we do and to continue to grow when we are SMEs in Mediterranean basin? Because we observe that the southern in Mediterranean countries are really beautiful production sources on European markets. But we still have weaknesses to work. And if I have to focus on 2 weak points, I can first note the technology index, because we are still 4 to 6 times lower than as a technology index, lower than in China or Vietnam. So we have to work the technology index to work it. And the second weakness point concerns laws, because in southern, some countries don't have any regulation laws, so we have to work on it. So we have advantages, but to allow SMEs to continue to grow and to innovate, we have to work on 2 main points, according to Anima, of course. The first point is the R&D development. Innovation is capital, and we need innovation and technology in everything, in strategy, in our vision, but also in production and in all the chains. So how can we do to develop more the R&D? First of all, maybe we can have better technology transfer from research to companies, but also possibility of acquiring patents abroad. And we need to work and to do incentives for laws and regulations to help companies to have better R&D and to help them to be more technological. For an example, regarding Anima, since the 4th year, we work in the frame of the Next Society project. We work with the Ministry, we work in Morocco with the Ministry of Industry and carried out the project in partnership with the CGEM to work on more R&D for companies and SMEs. Now, the Ministry has set a budgetary head and carry out R&D at various stages. 3 aids had been voted. The first one is evaluation of patents with a financial at 50% if the patent is here. The second one is funding of R&D project up to 60% and up to 4 million dirham. And the third heads that have been voted is support for the pilot phase of industrialization, 30% of the financing and maximum of $5 million dirham, sorry. So we can help and work with ministry and countries to reinforce R&D and help more SMEs to continue to innovate and be stronger in Mediterranean basin. Thank you.
Thanks, Virginie. So in that note on the digital economy and the innovation and agility is not no longer an option, but it is an essential for transformative business environment and landscape. Let's turn to Winslow to tell us more about the purple technologies and how it can envision involvement and the role of technology in SMEs, empowerment and growth, taking into account the economic disparities and fostering inclusive growth as well.
Yes. When you think of the digital divide, I think of when I went to Medina and I went to the marketplace, I see so many merchants who have very good goods, but they don't have an online presence. Many of these businesses may be informal as well, so they, quote unquote, they don't exist. So what Purple Team and ICSB envision using technology for good is creating a small business marketplace. And the small business marketplace would be a place where merchants could use tools to showcase their goods. So they don't have to just be in Medina, but now they're global, now they're online. And so that's the benefit of technology. It enables you to reach a bigger audience, but also we saw in COVID that since we weren't able to move around a bit, we had to adopt digital tools. So it isn't a choice anymore for us to use tools for scale. It is a necessity, but that also means that we have to have broadband available for a good connection to take place, so that the experience is good for the buyer and for the merchant. And so that's what we've done. We've been able to build some marketplaces where those who normally wouldn't be able to showcase their goods are able to now showcase their goods. And so that has allowed partners, some large companies, customers, also government agencies now to buy into these SMEs who for a long time they were not able to be part of the buying process because they didn't have a visible presence. And so that's how technology can leverage the playing field, can make the playing field more equal, but also give those who may not be in the city or those who may be in rural areas, help to give them the visibility. The next step also is working on logistics, because it's one thing to have a visible presence, but it's another thing to get access to the customer. And that's where digital trade, foreign trade is important in accessing roads and routes to make sure that you can close the gap between the merchant and the buyer.
That's wonderful. You have highlighted very important points regarding the informal businesses, and informal businesses represent a huge amount of businesses globally. And yesterday we have the policy dialogue that have tackled and addressed this issue. You mentioned also about the connectivity, and that there are many disadvantaged people who do not have access to technology, and that is really withholding them down to participate in a global marketplace and cross-border trade, basically. Thanks for that. Let's perhaps go back to Octavie and to tell us more what could be or what are the best strategies that Prima is doing to facilitate and selecting effective strategies to help SMEs for successful digital transformation.
Yeah. Well, first of all, in our calls, we do not prescribe any technology. But what we want to foster is there is a digital transformation, and digital transformation in the region is, I mean, I will not say easy, is very easy, but has some strengths, which is everyone has a mobile phone, so that's ça va de soi. And the second thing is the population is very young. So there are many more digital natives than in other parts of the world because the population is very young. So those are two advantages that even for smallholders, farmers, all of them have a mobile phone, and therefore to make the shift to the digital transformation that's I mean, will not say easy, but easier than other places. The second thing is that there are many value chains which benefit from traceability, and these for food, this is essential that we ensure traceability. And here blockchain and all these, the platforms and so on that allow for this traceability and food safety and food security, I mean, this is very important. The third thing I will mention is smart agriculture. And a smart agriculture in which it is precision agriculture, and you only, and this, I mean, having access to this tool is just to have an app and to use the app, and they are very easy to use, and we see in very many projects they do this. And even in some of them, there are Internet of Things. I was talking just before this session to people, I mean, to a project which is developing water management for agriculture in Algeria, and these guys, an SME, do this with Internet of Things, so trying to use and to spare as much water as possible for agriculture. In our region, 80% of the fresh water is used for agriculture, so sparing water for agriculture is essential in a region where water stress. So I would mention this as very important. And then we also want to be very flexible. Very flexible meaning responding to the needs that could not be foreseen. So for instance, when there was COVID, we launched a call to developing technologies who could help in the COVID stress. On when there was Ukraine, there is still the Ukraine war and all the problems with food security, especially for wheat, of which this region is very dependent because it imports a lot of wheat. I mean, Egypt is the first wheat importer of the world, and Algeria is the country in Africa which imports more food. So these two figures just to, and then how to increase food security through developing technologies that make the food able, or growing crops that are easier to grow, or at least that they can grow faster than others, and therefore provide food for the population. Thanks.
That's great. So you have mentioned about the smallholder farmers and basically on the water management and agricultural technologies, which is wonderful, that contribute to food security and achieving sustainable development goals. On that note, perhaps we can turn to Virginie on the role of ANIMA in collaborating with Moroccan institutions, basically, on what is the role that you have with them. Basically, we have heard this morning the green technology in the first panel, and it was really impressive to know all of these activities going on in Morocco. If you could elaborate on that. Yeah, you are very active today.
Can I have the presentation, please?
That was unexpected. It's on?
No? Perfect, thank you. Well, before talking about clusters, and the role that they play, but why we defend them, I would like just to remind you that ANIMA is an active player, active advocacy, and tries to evolve, to improve, the business and investment by helping the regulations, as I told in the example of the aids that has been voted in Morocco in R&D to help SMEs to be more active. So we work on incentives, but Anima as a network in its history, we think that clusters and all ecosystem, startup ecosystem, all economic ecosystem play a key role. But clusters are for us, and no, it is just the reality, are new actors in our economy today. They present many advantages and opportunities to help SMEs to grow. So in Anima, we work with institutions to help clusters to be stronger, and we also work with them directly to reinforce the capacity of their members, but also to their performance. Why clusters play a key role? First of all, they gather big SMEs, startup, many economic actors that can work together. They are in specific activity zone where we can experiment specific regulations that is easier than to vote national laws and to change rules at the national level. So, and the many clusters have some research centers. So they present many advantages for SMEs to help them grow and be more powerful. So we work with them, and we work with institutions and also cluster directly to help them grow and help SMEs grow. This is in this frame that we have launched the Euromed Cluster Forwards project, project that has begun in 2022. It's a project co-funded by the European Union and implemented by us, partnership with Beritech, Economic Research Forum, and Leaders International. In this project, ECF, the objective is to put clusters at the heart of the economic recovery in the Mediterranean basin, because we profoundly and sincerely think that we have to continue to reindustrialize, to continue to redevelop the production locally, to relocalization, and to continue to develop the Mediterranean value chains. Thank you.
On that note of partnership and leveraging on that to support small and medium enterprises, let me now ask Winslow, are there any collaborative initiative or partnership that Purple Technologies is leveraging on to support small medium enterprises? And if you have any example that can stand out you would like to share with us.
Yes, there are a few companies that we've worked with to use technologies to increase their presence. One is a beverage company that has come up with a new way of making sure that it's low sugar and has all the electrolytes that you need, but it didn't have a good presence. And so what we're able to do is to build a brand, is to help to build a brand, which means is that we were able to encourage them to revamp their website to make it much easier. What we do know that even in AI is that technology is here to stay. We have to eat. There is a supply chain, and so this fell into the supply chain aspect that we were trying to get one technology to the customer, but if the customer is unaware or had a hard time getting access to the product, then they would give up. So we had to make sure that the website was easy to navigate. So it's not hard that the product was available. We also had to upgrade the videos, make sure that there was dynamic content, but also what we understood is the viral nature of technology, and so we were able to tap into millennials and to give them access to the product so they were able to try the beverage and use it and then take pictures of themselves and upload their content. And so that created a following. And so one could use technology for good in terms of making sure that your brand is out there. For this company as well, we also had to recruit talent. And not everyone was willing to relocate to a certain area to work. But using technology, now you could have a workforce that's global, and they can work from wherever they want to work, but still contribute to the overall good. And so so there are many ways that we can use technology. It just has to be intentional. Of course, there has to be the underlying of broadband and making sure that we have the tools to work. But this is just an example of how we can leverage technology to scale an SME.
Thank you very much, and that was our final question to our panelists. So we have heard many perspectives from research and innovation to the role of the advisory and ANIMA network and how investment firm help and empower small and medium enterprises. With this, I would like to thank you very much for your insights today. That was very impressive, and we have learned a lot from you. And thanks to all of the audience. I hope that you have enjoyed the session, and have a good day ahead. And I think now it's the time for break. To you, Umayma.
جزيل الشكر لكم الدكتور إبراهيم الجبري على تسيير هذه الجلسة. كل الشكر للسادة المتحدثين والسيدة المتحدثة. كانت جلسة مليئة بالأفكار والمعلومات التي لا شك أن كل الحضور استمتع بها واستفاد منها. شكرا أيضا لكل الحاضرين، والآن أدعوكم لاستراحة شاي ستكون مدتها ساعة، خلالها يمكنكم زيارة المعرض، وبعد نهاية الاستراحة يمكنكم التوجه للورشات. شكرا لكم ويومكم سعيد.